Okay, guys, I think we'll just get going and then people can just trickle in as they do. So welcome. Thanks everybody for joining. We really appreciate your time. It's going to be an exciting session here. We're excited to present to you how to clean, prep your home so you're ready to sell later. Even if you're not ready to sell later, we're going to help you to streamline and simplify your home in very easy and exceptional ways. So without further ado, we're going to get started. We have three great panelists, if I do say so myself, that are subject matter experts in their areas. I'll introduce myself first. I am Michael Lavalia, the Senior Project Manager at Waverly, and I'm responsible for getting all of our homes on the market quickly and in a beautiful fashion as much as possible. I have 15 years of experience in facilities and property management. We also have John Nelson, who's one of our lead agents at Waverly. He has 35 years of experience in real estate with a focus on building and development. And then our special guest is Kelley Campau, who's an interior designer and professional organizer based in Los Angeles, and she is the founder of Waverly House Designs. Welcome, everybody. John and Kelley, do you want to share a little bit more about yourselves and your background?
Kelley?
Yeah, absolutely. I can start. So like Michael said, I'm an interior designer based in LA. Like so many folks right now, I find myself working virtually, which has also been a really fun experience. And what I really specialize in is creating more balanced homes through design and organization. So I'm looking forward to speaking with all of you today. Thanks for having me.
Great, Kelley.
And I've been in real estate since for about 35 years. I was with a development and building company, a large one in California here for about 8 years, and then rest of that time was with Coldwell Banker down in Menlo Park. And then we left there about 5 years ago to help start this company.
Great, thank you guys. All right, so moving on. Let's talk about what we'll cover today as a group. We're going to talk to you guys about tips for decluttering and organizing your home, how to tackle your home repairs, and when to list your home. Then we'll have a Q&A period at the end. By the way, if you have any questions along the line during the presentation, feel free to chat those through, and we will answer them again at the end of the presentation. Great. So how to organize and declutter your home. Kelley, this is your sweet spot, so I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, great. So I'm a big believer that if your home is in disarray and chaos, that so much of that is going to trickle into other aspects of your life. And so what I really try to help my clients do, what I hope I can help you guys do today, is just get a sense of balance and order in the home. And you can easily do that through organization and decluttering. And especially when it comes to moving, everybody knows it's an entirely stressful situation. As a new homeowner myself, I know that it's no walk in the park. So really what I want to do today is just to help compress this down into 3 simple things that you can do, but really powerful things that I think will help you as you start this journey. The first one is visualization, and then second is organization and decluttering, and then we can get into some tips for design and staging. Want to go to the next slide? Okay, so one of the first things that I love to do is sit down with my clients and meditate. And I know meditation can be a little bit intimidating, but it doesn't have to be intimidating. I think it can be really fun. So I like to think of this more as a visualization or just a daydreaming exercise before you do anything to your home. Whether you're looking to redesign your home or you're looking to prep it for sale, this is gonna, I think, really help clear your mind and clear the space for what you hope to achieve. So I encourage you, before you get started on anything, is to sit in a room for 5 or 10 minutes, preferably a room that inspires you, that makes you feel good. You don't really necessarily want to start this exercise in a cluttered room because that energy is going to stifle your creativity. So I encourage my clients to sit and meditate and visualize what you want your dream home to look like, what you want your dream spaces to feel like, you know, just that open spaciousness that you think of when you walk into homes or you look through magazines or on Pinterest and like, oh, I just love that. Daydream about that. I truly believe that there's nothing that we can't have if we just visualize it. So sit in a quiet room and then, you know, think about these things and then write them down. I love mood boarding. And basically what that is, if you haven't done that, is you can take, you know, magazine clippings, put them on poster board. Pinterest is another great platform. And just start pinning these things down that inspire you, and start visualizing to the detail what you want your future home to look like, from the furniture to the pots and pans to the bedspreads to what you want your closets to look like. And why this is so important is because it's really going to be a guide for you as you start on this journey and really inspire you to know what you're going for. No one wants to start a journey without knowing where it's going to end. So this is just a really fun way to get that process going, get those creative juices flowing, and just make it a little bit more fun. Because as we get into the next slide, you can go there, Michael. We're going to talk about decluttering, and that is not necessarily the most fun, but it can be if you start the process, you know, with this visualization technique. But you don't really want to start any project without preparing. And I think the best way to prepare in doing these things is make a list of what those rooms are that you want to declutter. And in most cases, myself included, it's pretty much every room that you need to start decluttering and organizing before you start moving. And what you can do too is make a list of the rooms that are going to be the most high impact if you're going to be looking to show your home in the near future. Maybe you want to start with the kitchen or the family room, the bedrooms that people are going to really walk into and want to imagine themselves living there. Those might be the first spaces that you want to start with. So starting with the kitchen. A lot of people don't necessarily think of the kitchen when it comes to decluttering because so many things are already in the cabinets, but the cabinets declutter themselves. So you really have to open up those cabinets and start going through the things that you don't necessarily think you're going to need anymore in the new home, and then also get them organized, because when people do come into your home to look at it, they're going to be opening up those cupboards, and if they see crumbs inside, they see Tupperware all piled up and stuff, that just projects a sense of disorganization, and nobody wants to feel that when they're walking into a prospective new home. And again, this goes for even if you're not looking to move. I guarantee this is 100% rewarding. Even if you're not moving, you're going to open up your space. You're going to feel a lot better. So I encourage you, go through those spice drawers, get rid of old spices. I know, like when I was going through my old house, I had spices in there from like 4 years ago that like had sticky like molasses on them, and just like get rid of all that stuff, you know, like go through the pantry, get rid of old cans of food that have expired, organize the things. I love putting a lot of grains and pastas in glass jars and labeling them, getting rid of those cardboard boxes. It just really creates a nice sense of organization. Those are just some simple tips that you can do in the kitchen. Moving on to the bedroom. And one of the first places that I think we all suffer from decluttering is our closets. And one of the simplest things that I think that folks can do to start organizing their closets is to get rid of all of the hangers that do not match. Go onto Amazon, buy a package of hangers, and start hanging your clothes on the same hangers in the same direction. You will be amazed how much more space you have in your closet and how much more organized it looks. Another thing that you can do with your closet, start folding your clothes, getting them nice and neat. Michael's going to talk about this in a little bit, but really, like, you want to go into, when people open up your closets and see what's inside, they don't want to see that mess. They don't want to see old gym clothes and sweatshirts piled on top of each other. So get rid of all those old things. I'd love to say if you haven't worn it in a year, get rid of it. You're probably not going to wear it again. Donate those clothes. Get those piles ready for donation. So once you're ready to go, you have everything in the bags and you can just move it on out. Moving into the den. This is another really high impact zone for decluttering. You know, looking at old files, if you have a bunch of old papers stacked on top of each other, start digitizing that, start shredding those papers. We don't need, you know, 10 years worth of tax returns and papers, because so much of that stuff is digitized now. So really start going through that stuff. You know, I was helping my parents go through this recently. You know, they're going through their den. I think they found like 75 stacks of Post-it notes and highlighters, and like that's all stuff you can donate. You're never going to go through 75 stacks of Post-it notes. So just start thinking about what you can start getting rid of now. And the same thing, I think the den and the basement and the attic are sort of those spaces where you keep old pictures and files. Pictures are another thing that are really good to digitize. You don't necessarily need to keep stacks of pictures, you know, from the 90s and early 2000s when we still had those cameras and we're printing the pictures. You can get rid of a lot of those things. And I know that especially is a hard one when you're thinking of things that are sentimental and you don't necessarily want to get rid of. But you're going to feel so much better if you start purging some of these things and decluttering them now, especially when it comes time to moving. And the garage is another area that people, when they're going to come into your home, are going to look at. You know, obviously it's a great spot to start storing things, but I really encourage you, instead of just shoving things in corners, get some of those big plastic bins off of Amazon and start putting, you know, any of your tools or children's toys, things in there, and start packing them on top of each other in the garage. And that just gives a nice sense of orderliness. When people do come into your home, they say, oh, like, these people really have it together. This is a home. This is a good energy that I would like to walk into. Because when things are decluttered, you can feel that energy. I know we all feel it when our home is disorganized. Other people feel it too when they'll walk into your home. So just really create a openness and spaciousness about your home, but when prepping it for sale. And then the next part is, let's talk about design and staging. You know, and again, you know, Michael's going to go into this a little bit more in more detail, but these are just some, you know, tips that you can do, like really easy tips to just open up your space. Paint your walls a neutral color palette. I love color. You can see my green walls behind me. I think it's great, and I think it adds a lot of personality to a home. But when you're staging your home, you actually want to take your personality out of it. Save all those creative juices when you move into your next home. And that's what the visualization's for. Start taking those notes and do everything you want when you move into the next one. But this is the time to simplify. So start painting your walls neutral colors, start taking down the wallpaper. Maybe you might want to consider ripping out the carpeting if it's old at this point. The decor is really important as well. You might love those dozens of throw pillows on your bed. Your children might love, you know, hundreds of stuffed animals on their bed. But that's not, that in itself creates a sense of clutter for people coming into your home. So maybe just to pick a few throw pillows that you want to put on the bed, put the rest in the closet, put the toys in a toy box, and we'll just really simplify the decor. Because again, you don't want people coming into your home and feeling your energy. You want to open it up and have it a clean slate so they can picture themselves in your home. And another thing that I really suggest people start doing now is making a list of the furniture that you don't necessarily think you're going to want in your new home, and making plans for either donating that, putting it on Craigslist, having a garage sale. Because if you don't have to move that furniture, don't do it. It's costly, it's exhausting. We don't like doing it. So get rid of it now, especially since we have the time in this quarantine. Start making a list of those things that you don't necessarily want anymore, and consider donating them. And then the fun part comes when you come into your new house and you can buy all the new things that you might want. And then another fun, I think, tip to start doing now is to start making a list of all those home improvements that you've made on your existing home. So if you've lived in your home for 10 or 20 years, you might have forgotten all of those home improvements that you've done. So this is just a good time to just sit down and start making a list of those things, because that's going to increase the value of your home once people know what love and care you've taken to it. But then also homeowners are going to know that you've done these improvements, whether you've put on a new roof, you've updated the kitchen cabinets and the countertops, you've updated the bathrooms. Make a list of all those things so they know. You don't want your hard work not noticed, especially when it comes to selling your home at this point. So you can go on to the next slide.
One quick thing
yeah.
that I wanted to add to this before we move on, to add to what you just described. The other reason that we don't want a lot of clutter and a lot of bright, garish painted walls is because you want your new potential buyers to focus on your house and not your things. If there are a lot of things, the eye is going to go directly to those things, the bright colors, the shiny moving objects. That's where your eye is going to go to. And that's not what you're selling. You're selling your home to them. So the more neutral we make it, the more they can actually see the architectural details, all of the home spaciousness, the lightness. So that's another real good reason why we ask you to neutralize your house and also get rid of your family photos, because those are all going out on syndicated sites. So unless you want your family plastered all over the world, that's why we have you take those down. So I just wanted to add that little nugget.
That's a great point. And that's also a good point with refrigerators. And in your kitchen, take off the family photos and the magnets on the refrigerator. Very simple thing just to take off now. But the family photos, that's a good point.
And there's one more thing too regarding, you said make a list of the updates you made in your home. When we as the agents come in and see your home, we see it, but we don't know the home like you do. And you got to figure that the things that you loved about your home, we want to relate that to the new buyers. And it's very important. So not only the updates you've made, but just the things you really love about it.
Great. Thank you. Moving on.
Okay, so this is just condensing what we just talked about. Whether you're downsizing your home or you're moving your family into a bigger home, I think these tips apply to everyone. Don't get overly sentimental about things. At this point, you're going to feel so much better just getting rid of that stuff and starting fresh in the new home. So try to purge whatever you can. I guarantee you're going to feel better. And also, don't do it alone. Enlist the help of your friends. You put your children to work. Call the help of professionals. If none of this sounds interesting or exciting to you and is completely overwhelming, that's what we get paid to do. We love doing this stuff. So there's people to do it for you and there's people to help. I think garage sales are super fun when the time comes, now that the weather's getting better, once all these mandates lift. Craigslist is another great way to make some money, or donate your items, but you're not in it alone. Enlist the help of people around you, and then just keep your end goal in mind the entire time. Keep that vision, keep that mood board there to inspire you and to motivate you throughout this whole journey.
Great. Thank you so much, Kelly. That was really great information. And I think we can all benefit from your knowledge on how we can, in our own homes right now, whether we're selling or not, simplify. All right, great. So we're going to get into the next section about tackling your home repairs, another very important part of getting your home ready, not in addition to just decluttering, but there may be some items that you need to take care of in order to get your home ready for sale. So for most sellers, they've been in the home 10, 20, 30 or more years, right? So through all of that time, we've collected a lot of stuff, which is all great. But now is the time, especially when we're sheltering in place, to look at these items. And if we are getting ready to move, do we really need all this stuff? Again, what Kelly said earlier, it's now the time to take inventory of what you think you will use going forward. And again, if you haven't used it in a year or more, you're probably not going to use it. So when you work with Really, our PM team will help you orchestrate all these moving components effectively and on time. So some things that we recommend that are real easy to do, not terribly a lot of money at this time, for you to take a look at in your own homes. Any scratches or cabinets on your doors and floors. People think, oh, I've got to repaint it, I've got to refinish it. I actually have a really great product out there that I use all the time in my own home. It's called Restore a Finish, R-E-S-T-O-R-A Finish. You can get it at Home Depot. You can get it online, Amazon, and you can just use it in the color of wood that you have. It's cherry, it comes in walnut, birch, etc. And you just take a cloth and rub that on your scratched floors, scratched cabinetry, and even furniture, and it takes the scratches and nicks away. So that's something you can start doing right now to make sure everything looks great when you're getting ready to get the home prepped. Screens, screen doors, screens on your windows. If you're not going to replace torn or damaged screen doors or windows, I would just remove them altogether. It'll have a clean look to it. Otherwise, replace any of that, because that's going to show up in your photographs, and potential buyers aren't going to want to see, oh, I got to replace 10 screens or however many in this house. Again, what Kelley talked about, declutter all rooms. All rooms, again, are important to show, so we want to declutter them. To me, it's the #1 thing in home prep. Furnish spaces with high impact items. So you can stage your own home with your own items. Pick out, as you're going through to decide what you're keeping or not, any high impact items. What are high impact items? Well, it can be books, it can be candles, it can be vases, it can be statuettes. Anything that you really value, that you think really looks great, now's the time to showcase it, because your house is going to be marketed, and this stuff will show nicely in photographs as well. Organized closets and cabinets. When sellers ask me, well, I have a beautiful walk-in closet that I want to showcase, I'll say, great, that's great. So let's get it pared down. Let's get all of, like Kelley mentioned, all the hangers the same, all the clothes nice and neat in a line on the racks. And as well, if you have any full clothes that are folded on any shelving, make sure that they're nice and neat and in a line, just like when you go into a department store. That's kind of what we're looking to achieve when we're taking professional photographs. Painting inside of your home or touch-up paint. Again, I think any house, whether we think it's turnkey or not, is going to need some touch-up paint, because guess what? We're going to hang mirrors, we're going to hang pictures, and if you're moving out of the house, there's going to be holes. So we'll want to patch that and paint that. Sometimes, depending on the age of the paint on the wall, you'll have to paint corner to corner, because that touch-up paint, even if it's the right color, may look a little bit brighter because that other paint has been sun swiped, has been, there's dirt on it, wear and tear. And then professional interior and exterior window cleaning, very important, because the windows are the eyes to the house. So if you have a really clean house but really dirty windows, guess what? It's going to show up like a sore thumb in the photos. And again, it's not a good presentation. So that's what we recommend. We do recommend that it's done professionally, but if you don't have the wherewithal to do that, then just make sure that your windows are cleaned on your own. And then we suggest that we have this cleaning before photos and at the end of escrow, so that the new buyers come into a really nice, clean, pristine house.
Yep.
I want to show you some really transformed homes. This is actually a home that we sold. And this seller had a beautiful house, but she was a hoarder in some cases, and a clutterer in others. And so this room on the top was her upstairs office, and that's the picture of how I found it. And so with my guidance, I gave her a nice little report to show her what she could do to get the room ready. And a really good pro tip here about bookshelves. People think that, hey, if you have a wall-to-wall built-in bookshelf, as this one is, it should be wall-to-wall books. Not the case for marketing your house. I prefer to see less books and more other decorative items, because guess what? It's more visually appealing, it's more dynamic, and it gives a better look to the room. So on the right, what we did was we removed some of the books, but added some of her personal items that she had that were servingware or glassware, and we just decorated that bookshelf again for a better visual sense. Same with her kitchen downstairs. She had a lot going on in there. I had her take a lot of stuff off the refrigerator, anything that was taped to the doors or cabinetry. And then she just used a few high impact of her own items for the countertops. So like a tea kettle, some ceramic servingware, her knife set, etc., and then some cuttings from her yard. So it gives just a more clean and presentable look. And this can be done real easy. Again, everybody's at home. Let's start working on this now. Box some of this stuff up. You're moving. Now, there's no time like the present to get this stuff boxed up and ready to be moved to your new place.
Hey, Michael, one other thing too people need to
Yeah.
keep in mind is that you live in a house differently than you sell a house. So it's just keep that in mind that you're trying to impress the buyers coming in, and that's why we go through all this.
Great point. Thank you. All right, let's talk about the outdoors. This is a common area that is overlooked as far as focus and getting it ready. So I just want to give a few quick tips on what you can do. So let's say you have some grass, for example, that's dying and it's patchy in some areas. Instead of having you either reseed or put new sod, which is very expensive, what you can do is just mow that down to a really short hedge and then throw some ground cover over it. Bark or mulch will look really nice. You could put some potted plants out there with some flowers to add a pop of color, but that's a really good way to add some cleanliness and ground cover to maybe a yard that needs a little attention. I mean, by all means, if you have the funds and time to do new sod, that's great. But if you don't or don't want the hassle, it's a real quick, easy fix to put ground cover in. Power washing. I can't tell you how many homes I see that look really great, but have a oil stained driveway. So you want to make sure that that's pretty clean too, because that adds to your curb appeal. Same with your walkway up to your house. You know, if you have an olive tree or a tree that drops a lot of sap, we'll want to get all that clean so it's nice and fresh, not only for photography, but when people come up to see your house as potential buyers. Paint the front door. It's the first thing you walk up to when you come to the structure, if it needs paint. I always like to throw some accent paint if it's applicable, you know, a nice red or a blue, but whatever it is, make sure that the door looks great. Again, we talked about windows. Get rid of any cobwebs, or if you have drain gutters that are filled with leaves, let's clean all that out. You can even power wash the exterior of your house. Just be mindful that, you know, it could cause damage if there's any dry rot, but it is something that you can do as well. And then any outdoor furniture that you have that may look ratty, if you don't want to replace them, just repaint or refinish. And you can just do it with even spray paint for a quick fix. So just some quick tips on how to get your yard ready. You know, more color is great. Potted plants with flowers is all really an improvement. Okay, moving on. So when to list your home? When is the right time? And working with your timeline to get your house on the market. Hey, John, you want to take this?
Absolutely. Hi, guys. Welcome to our podcast here, or excuse me. What do we call this?
Webinar.
Webinar. Okay, good. So a couple of things. When are you going to be ready to sell? Okay, you're ready to sell when selling your home helps you get to the next place you need to be. It sounds so simple, but there is, don't let the time of year or whatever dictate that. If you need to sell, if it's going to help you get to the next spot, then that's the time to do it. There's never really a bad time to sell. There are maybe some better times during the year, but let me tell you, there are buyers constantly looking all day long on their computers for homes. And even more so right now, and generally they're doing it on their company's dime. They're doing it during the week. So we sell for many reasons, okay? There's upward mobility. There is your job transfer, that's a big one. And then also your empty nesters, and your kids are gone and you want to move to a smaller place, or maybe one place that's got no stairs in it. We see that. And then there are some other more personal reasons for selling. But whenever you're ready for this, we are here for you. Buyers are always looking for homes. During this current shelter in place, we have had a real increase in buyer and seller activity right now, which has been really interesting. The interest rates are pretty low, and there's a lot of good homes out there on the market right now, and people want to take advantage of that. We in the Bay Area, of course, a little different market. Okay, so what we're going to do is we will work with you to get your house ready to sell and to sell. We will take you through the entire process. Really is a full service real estate company. We just do it for less money, and we believe we do it better. I've got a lot of experience. A lot of the people here have many years of experience with the company in the past, and have sold lots of homes. So we've developed a way to kind of trim the fat of all the old style selling your home and make it a more lean process. And we do our number one goal here is to make it as easy and simple for you as possible. Next slide, please. So we were founded in 2016. That's when we launched the company. Again, the mission here was to create great service and with cutting edge technology, and really use cutting edge technology, not just saying we're using texting and emailing. But we use a lot of AI products. And we are really based on data as well. So when we come out and visually look at your home and we figure out what the house should be worth, we really look at the data. We also look at the intangibles, but we're really data driven. And that's one of the best things about our company too, is that we really use the proof of what we're doing. The other thing is that when you hire we are your real estate agent. For instance, if you were selling near this area where we are on the peninsula, I would be your agent. But when you hire you really hire the entire company. I would be the point person for it. And we hold your hand through the entire process. We do what the traditional agents do, but we do more, and we do it better, and we do it for less. It's pretty simple. Slide, please. Okay. Michael? Michael, you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I had dogs and I didn't want you all to hear them. Anyway, pardon me. Let's go back to this slide. Here is our contact information. If you want to get in touch with us, we really appreciate everyone's time and our presenters' time. So now we're going to open it for Q&A. If we have any questions, we can field those. So let's take a look. And I appreciate everyone joining this webinar today. So let's see, we have a couple of questions here. Wow, great, quite a few questions. So this is from a question for Kelley. Share it here in the chat. She'll be answering the live Q&A. Oh, sorry. Let me just look at this. I live in a bungalow which has open space between family room and the kitchen. What's the best way to separate the kitchen from the living room? Bar stools? A wall? What do you think, Kelley?
I mean, I think the simplest ways to separate for room dividers in an open space are those portable bookcases. So, you have open shelving on one side, open shelving on the other, and you can decorate it, with plants or with books or with pottery. But it's a really nice way to have a divider, but also not feel like it's such a barricade because it's open on both sides. Another easy way to divide a room is rugs. A lot of people think if you have one giant room, you need one giant rug to fill the whole space. But if you want to make different sections, I think dividing it by rugs is a really easy way to do that, to give you those visual boundaries. Bar stools are great if you have a kitchen counter. I think that's great. Or if you have some sort of kitchenette or nook that you want to set up there, that's another great way to divide the two areas. Plants are always great. I love bringing the outdoors inside just to give it a boost of oxygen, a boost of color. Those also are good dividers.
Okay, great. That was from Mohammed. It looks like he has another question. I want to expand my house, master bedroom, office, and I'm not sure where to start. Should I build an in-law? Oh, it's for everybody. In-law unit, second story, build on top of my garage or dorm? I am not sure what the best option is I should go with and who has the best value increase. Also, any idea on what's the best way to finance this project?
Well, how big is your lot? That's a big question. I mean, if you've got a smaller lot and a smaller backyard, you're definitely better going up. Um, but with going up, you may be limiting your buyers in the future because a lot of the buyers that are really going to be coming out now are a lot of the boomers, baby boomers, and a lot of those guys are trying to drop down from a two-story house to a one-story house. And that's going to be a fairly large buying group. You're going to see a lot of them sell and a lot of them buy in the very near future. So again, depending on the size of your yard, and if you're planning to stay there for a long time, it doesn't really matter. But you might be better off going up just to keep the yard as big as possible.
Okay, great. We have another question for you, John. This person says, you said the we sell really sells better for less cost to seller. How much?
Well, it depends, of course, on the price of your house. We have a tiered system, but we are adjusting our pricing a bit. It's going to be somewhere around 1%. But depending on the price and such, we have some different factors. But we can talk offline if you'd like.
Okay, we have a question from Mary for Kelly. Is it good to stage a table setting for show in a dining room?
I mean, I've seen it done both ways. I'm a big believer in simplicity. I think that, my recommendation for that would be get a nice table runner, a nice vase of flowers to put on the table. But I don't think setting it with the whole table setting is completely necessary. I think it really depends on the house and the feeling that you want to exude. But I would say as an overarching feeling that I would forgo the table settings and just put a nice vase of flowers and a table runner on there. Michael, do you have a recommendation on that?
I think so too. I think less is more. A table runner is fine, or even just a beautiful bouquet of fresh flowers. I know that's hard to keep up, but at least for photographs, maybe the first weekend of open houses is always very impactful.
We've seen a lot of people that will set it up with chargers as well, and runners. You don't want to do too much. I mean, at the end of the day, you want it to be fairly simple. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Any more questions from our audience? For John, is it cost effective to get a professional appraisal prior to deciding to list?
That's an interesting question. We actually get that a lot. One of the things about the appraisers is they are using numbers that are at least 30 to 45 to 60 days old. So they will be appraising what it was a little while ago. So the agents, as an agent, we're out there in the field every day and we're in the trenches and we know where the prices are going and what people are paying. If somebody closed a house for the $600,000 2.5 months ago and now those prices are up and they get multiple offers, your property may have a different value. But the flip side as well, sometimes you've had properties that have sold for more a couple of months ago and we've seen a decline and actually maybe not as many buyers around and things aren't going for as high as they were. So rarely do we have people do a professional appraisal before coming on the market. But of course, it's up to you. Something like that will cost you probably between $400 and $600.
Okay, great. Question for John and Michael. We need to sell our SoCal ranch home this summer due to loss of income. One of our electrical circuits doesn't work and I think the panel is not to code. Should we fix this before listing? The driveway and backyard decking is 40 years old. However, we can't afford to repair or replace. Your thoughts? Well, I would say, I think the deck you can forego. Electrical is kind of tricky in that you want to make sure that the new buyer doesn't have to do that kind of work, because that would be probably a Section 1 item on the inspection call out. So I would suggest at least having an electrician take a look at it and give you a bid or a few bids on what it would take, and then you can decide. That will give you some time to think about, you know, the prices that you get from a bid, and if it makes sense to do all of it or maybe just some of it. John, what do you think?
Yeah, so regarding the electrical, so up here in the Bay Area, we generally do our property inspections prior to coming on market. So you know about these things. So when a buyer comes in and wants to put an offer in your house, they can put an offer in knowing all the things that could or could not be wrong with it. So if you know that the electrical panel has issues, and did you say it was done without permit? Or
it looks like the deck. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, they said it's not to code, the electrical.
Yeah, that's something you really don't want to mess around with. And a property inspection is going to find it. So it's not something, I mean, that kind of material disclosure you do need to make. Now, you don't necessarily have to fix it right now. You would definitely be better off fixing it now. Unless you have to replace the whole electrical system. I don't know what kind of condition it's in, but you do need to disclose that. And depending on the market, you know, if the market's really hot, you just say, great, take it as is. And, you know, you can build that replacement of that. Now you got to think of a box and replacing a lot of the electrical could cost you anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000, depending on how big the house is and what you have to do. But regards to the backyard and the deck and stuff, just clean it up as best as possible.
Yeah.
And I think right now your best bet is to get it on the market quickly. Yeah, clean it up, get it on the market quickly.
Okay, great. We have another question for John and Michael. I want to sell, but I don't want people coming in and out. Can homes sell on video? Well, great question, because right now we're in shelter in place and no one wants anyone in their house right now. We're not really doing physical open houses. For sure, you can have people view your house virtually. We take still photographs and Matterport, which is basically a 3D virtual tour of your home. So if you don't want anyone coming to see your house, you would just put that in the notes that there will not be any open houses and there will not be showings. John, you can speak to this as well. But for sure, they can see the entire home online, and you can sell it that way. John, you want to talk about physical aspects?
Yeah, we're doing right now. We are listing homes and putting them on the market right now. And one of the things we're doing, in fact, we got one going this weekend, is we are doing virtual open houses where we set a time, we show up, and we do it's basically a Zoom meeting, much like with what we're doing now, but you walk around with your camera, filming the house, walking through and answering questions that people have about it. It's a little different than a virtual tour because you can actually stop, look around, ask questions and such. But yeah, no, you can still sell your house without having people come in. It makes it more difficult. You know, you really want to make your house as easy to show as possible if you're going to sell.
Great. Any more questions from our audience participants? Okay, yes. Should we have our home inspected before listing? What area are you in? Not sure about the area. Well, typically in Northern California, we do all of our inspections at the front end. And I know they do it a little bit different in Southern California. The buyer would do the inspection at the buyer's side.
Guys, picture this. You're going to go out and buy a used car, okay? And you're going to come to an agreement on a price, and then you have someone look at the engine and find out there's a problem. It would have been a lot easier knowing that right up front so you don't have to go renegotiate. We started doing that up here, the inspections prior to listing, probably about 18 years ago. And it really makes for a much better offer coming in. There's less renegotiation and everyone knows everything up front. It's very simple. And it's not that much money to get the inspections.
Great. Any other questions out there? Right now, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Well, it's interesting. This whole shelter in place has really changed the game. I mean, I'm working on something right now up in San Francisco. I have a buyer going in, and the seller is still holding on to that old price, but I think they're starting to get it now. Not necessarily that the prices are coming way down, but I don't believe they're going up at this point. A lot of buyers are getting some really good deals on loans right now, and that's given them a lot more buying power. In fact, there are people that could, had a buying power of here. Now they're up here with their buying power, and they're looking at even different houses. So it's been a pretty good been pretty good for the buyers, and a lot of the sellers are sleeping it off right now. So I think what you want to do is, if you want to sell, it's a great time to come on, because there is less competition, but there's also a lot of buyers out there.
Great. Thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, folks? Is growing an orange tree an increase to home value? Well, I'll take this, and John, you can add to. I always think that sellers, if you have any fruit or vegetable plants or trees, that definitely is an asset for some people. Not everybody, but I think that's definitely an amenity to your home. So I would always suggest fruit trees, a vegetable garden, especially now when people don't want to go to the grocery store and be with other people shopping. I think it's a great add value.
But you want to make sure you don't get a plant that starts this big, because by the time that's putting out fruit,
you get a mature tree.
Okay. Let me throw one more thing in here too, is that we've got two special programs here. Really, one of them in particular right now, as far as sellers go, is called Really Trade In. And the really cool part about this is that you find the house you want, and then you say, well, great, I want to buy that house, but I have to sell my house first. Well, you don't have to in this situation. With Really Cash, or Really Trade In, we go ahead and buy that new house for you. You move into that, and then we sell your old house. Now, the really cool part about this too is that we don't charge you any more. What the interesting about, you can talk with our specialists on this, but we do all this, and the only thing is you don't get the Really rebate, which pales in comparison to how easy this makes moving. We've done many of these, and we have yet to have anybody say, gosh, I really would have rather done it the other way. And we have the Really Cash program too, for buyers. Say you're renting a house and you want to buy a house, and you're getting you're kind of losing out on deals because of contingencies you have, and then you can't close fast enough. Well, all of a sudden you've got the ability to buy like a cash buyer, but still be a regular purchaser. And then we buy the house, we help you buy the house, and then we refinance you out of it afterwards. I mean, it's pretty cool, and no one else is offering anything like this, especially for the price.
Great. We have another question here. Where is Really available? So Really is pretty much everywhere in California, for the most part, from basically Sonoma County all the way to San Diego County, East Bay, Inland Empire, Palm Springs.
San Diego, Orange County, Central Valley.
Central Valley.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Another question. Are you still the huge competition with cash offers and flippers? Are you still?
Not quite as much as it used to be, because the value started going up and up and up. And after a while, the difference between the house that's in need of a lot of work and the house that's already been finished is getting the gap used to be like this. Now the gap's a lot closer. But yes, you are still seeing people buying houses and doing that. Areas like in tighter areas like in San Francisco, South San Francisco and such, you'll see people buy maybe 1 or 2 homes together, put the lots together and build 4 homes, 4 smaller homes. We still see that a lot.
Great. It looks like, is this a question from Carrie? East Bay, are we in the East Bay? We definitely serve the East Bay, if that's your question, for sure, for buyers and sellers. Okay, so she says, I have an old beat up fiberglass in-ground spa that needs all new pool equipment. Should I try to fix it or just fill it in?
Well, that's a good question. Okay, so you said it's in ground, like okay, kind of like an in-ground pool, but a spa. Gosh, it's one of those things. Pools and spas, they don't add value, and they don't take, and they're more likely to take value away from your house if you're going to sell. A lot of the old adage is a pool is definitely not a bonus. So yeah, I'd recommend your best bet is just to get rid of it. I mean, people generally don't put in-ground pools spas anymore. They buy them where they're all self-contained and they cost a couple $1,000s. So yeah, I'd pull it out and fill it in. Put some nice plants in there.
Okay, this is from Inquirer. I am very interested in a really trade-in. Do you charge interest on the loan to buy the new home before selling the old? Could this work for California to a Wisconsin move?
Well, my in-laws are in Wisconsin, and it's a long ways to go. No, actually, it wouldn't work that way. We can't. We're not in Wisconsin yet, but if we were, we could definitely do that. Yeah, that wouldn't work. You'd still sell your house and save you a lot of money, but no, we couldn't do the really trade-in. And Wisconsin's a great place to go, by the way. Okay.
Is the staging included in the really trade-in? Yes, it is. Yep, we do a nominal amount of work to get the house ready. So touch up paint, that kind of thing, minor repairs. And then we will stage it and clean it and photograph it as well, photograph all homes. But yeah, that's all included.
The beauty is that we take care of everything for you. I mean, it's a phenomenal deal and no one else can touch it. A lot of the mortgage guys don't know how we do it. A lot of the other real estate companies don't understand how we do it, but we figured it out. So yeah, it's great.
So what is the fine print?
Well, I need your credit card and your date of birth.
That's right.
Kidding. No, there is no fine print. There's no other shoe to drop. That's a question we get all the time with people when we're working with both buyers and sellers is, this is such a great deal. Where's the catch? And there just is no catch. We're up front. We're open book. Yeah, we don't hide anything, and there's nothing that's not disclosed. Yes, no, we are what we are.
All right, how are we on time? We have about 5 minutes left, folks. So any other questions, get them in now. I want to keep to the time schedule.
Are any of you guys looking to buy a house? You have any questions on that side? I mean, there's two sides to this, right? There you go.
Looks like Carrie, you're looking to buy and sell.
Okay, Carrie, you're in the East Bay, right?
Yes.
Okay. And where are you looking to buy? Wisconsin?
Looking at the peninsula.
Yeah. Carrie, if you'd like, why don't you contact me and we could go over this. But you never know. There are places on the peninsula that are affordable still. It's hard to believe, but we see a lot of pockets.
Great. So I'm going to just thank everybody now for participating in this. I hope it was helpful. I hope you saw the value in it. I'm just going to quickly go back to the slide where our contact information is in case you want to contact us individually. I'm happy to answer any questions offline. If you have any project management questions, talk to John about real estate and Kelley about interior design and organization. We really thank you for your time. Thank you, John and Kelley, for co-hosting with me. And we'll see you the next time. Thanks, everybody.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
joining us. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Bye.